After a one-night stand with a top-tier alpha, I discovered I was pregnant. I was planning to raise the child on my own when he became my new boss. Now I'm in serious trouble. Chapter 1. Lately I've been feeling sluggish at work, with occasional waves of nausea. I didn't think much of it, figured I was just exhausted from work. My coworker Amelia joked, "If I didn't know you were single, I'd swear you were about to become a dad." My fingers froze on the keyboard, my heart skipping a beat. That wild night from a month ago suddenly flashed through my mind. Could it really be that coincidental? One time and it stuck? I took time off to get checked at the hospital. Walking out with the pregnancy test results, my feelings were all over the place. I gently touched my belly. There was actually a tiny life growing inside me. One that belonged to me alone. Anyone else would probably choose to terminate the pregnancy. But the doctor's words kept echoing in my ears. Your reproductive system isn't well developed. Getting pregnant is practically a miracle. I'd asked, confused. Then why did it work the first time? The doctor had replied meaningfully. Because the child's father is an extremely powerful alpha. I can barely remember how I walked out of that exam room. That alpha was definitely strong. But he didn't belong to me. A month had passed, and I could hardly recall what he looked like. Only his minty pheromones had lingered on me for a long time. I spent an hour making my decision. I'd keep this child. Maybe it was because I was too lonely. After my parents each started new families, I felt like a spare part. This child would be my strongest connection to the world. Between college side jobs and my postgrad work, I'd saved up quite a bit. Raising a kid should be manageable. Once I'd made up my mind, I felt much lighter. My phone rang. It was Amelia. "Liam, you're not taking tomorrow off, right? I heard some big shot is coming, starts tomorrow." "Nope, I'll be there," I replied. Amelia sighed with relief. "Good. As department head, you really shouldn't miss the new CEO's first day." Business settled, she switched to gossip mode. "I heard the new CEO is a top-tier alpha, tall and gorgeous." I was about to become a dad. I couldn't care less what my new boss looked like. The next day, the new CEO walked into the conference room to eager applause. Everyone clapped. Everyone except me. I was frozen in place. Though that alpha's face had blurred in my memory, it hadn't completely faded. The new CEO smiled faintly. "Hello, everyone. I'm Noah." Hearing that familiar voice, I knew for certain. Noah was the man I'd spent that one night with, and the father of the child in my belly. I wanted nothing more than to crawl under the table. I was a nervous wreck, sitting on pins and needles. The second the meeting ended, I tried to slip away. Then I heard Noah say, "Department managers, please stay." I had no choice but to sit back down, head lowered the entire time. The hotel lighting had been so dim that night, surely he couldn't remember my face clearly? Plus, I'd woken early the next morning and quietly left. He definitely didn't remember me. "Manager Liam, why was this project put on hold?" The manager beside me nudged my arm. "Liam, he's asking you." I snapped my head up. Noah was staring right at me, his eyes full of surprise and scrutiny. I cleared my throat and started answering his question. Walking out of that conference room, my legs were shaking. Should I quit? No, I'd just gotten promoted with a raise. I couldn't give up my job because of someone I'd only met once. Besides, I had a child to support now. As long as I kept quiet, he'd never know. I'd barely sat down at my desk when Noah's assistant came to fetch me to his office. Noah leaned back in his chair, watching me with sharp eyes. "Liam, haven't we met before?" I shook my head. "No, Mr. Noah, you've got the wrong person." Noah's lips curved slightly. "Is that so?" Orange-scented pheromones, I remember them very clearly. Instinctively, I touched my gland. Orange was my pheromone scent. Noah continued. "The bite mark you left on my shoulder still hasn't faded. Quite the set of teeth you've got. You took my first time and then just ran off?" My face turned scarlet. If he wasn't my boss, I'd really want to shut him up. He was an alpha who slept with me and Omega, yet he was acting like I'd taken advantage of him. I was the one who was pregnant and I hadn't said a word about it. I gathered my courage. "Mr. Noah, please watch your language. That night is over. We both had too much to drink and acted on impulse. Let's just pretend it never happened." Noah raised an eyebrow, looking none too pleased. Chapter 2. Back at my desk, my coworkers were blowing up the group chat about Noah. He's so hot. The company finally has a good-looking guy. I heard he's the heir to the corporation, got into it with his family, and got sent down to our branch as some kind of training. His class alpha. His presence is intense. I think Noah's pheromones smell like mint. Oh my god. Does he have an omega? His class alpha. I scrolled through the chat history and Googled Noah's name. Graduated from a prestigious foreign university with countless awards. He'd even skipped 2 grades, clearly brilliant. I touched my belly. Yeah, the genes are definitely solid. Even though I'm pretty ordinary, my kid won't be. That night with Noah had been absolutely wild. It was my birthday. Coworkers and friends had sent their wishes and gifts. After the group dinner ended, I opened the chat with my parents. Blank. They'd forgotten my birthday. Seemed like they'd forgotten they even had a son. I passed by a bar and walked in. Everything after that got hazy. I just remember constant movement. Mint-scented pheromones. Strong arms holding me. Neon lights outside the window. The pale light of dawn on the horizon. When I woke up the next day, I was still lying in that alpha's arms. Covered in kiss marks. It was the most impulsive thing I'd ever done in my life. I quickly threw on my clothes and bolted. Even though I got pregnant, I never thought about tracking down that alpha. I figured we'd never cross paths again. Turns out the world is pretty small. He ended up becoming my direct supervisor. I panicked for a bit, then forced myself to calm down. Since Noah was just here to get some ground-level experience, he definitely wouldn't stick around long. That thought gave me some relief. When the company had a dinner, I let my guard down and went along with everyone else. At the table, David from the neighboring department was totally sucking up to Noah, constantly proposing toasts. The other managers saw this and followed suit. I poured myself some juice and walked over to Noah. Mr. Noah, I'm not feeling well, so I can't drink alcohol. Let me toast you with juice instead. Noah raised his glass and clinked it with mine. David made some snide comment from the side. What's Manager Liam acting all high and mighty for? You usually drink plenty. What, are you looking down on Mr. Noah? I instinctively glanced at Noah, who was watching me with an amused expression. Made sense, he obviously didn't buy it. After all, that night I'd only slept with him because I'd been drinking. I was about to explain when Noah spoke up casually. Manager David, you seem awfully worked up. Someone might think Manager Liam was toasting you instead. David's face went white instantly, and he quickly apologized. I breathed a sigh of relief and returned to my seat. The moment I sat down, a wave of nausea hit me, and I rushed to the bathroom. After throwing up, I felt much better. As soon as I walked out of the restroom, David blocked my path. What are you playing at? Acting all special and delicate. You're just a pretty omega trying to get Mr. Noah's attention, aren't you? David was seriously messed up. Just because he was an alpha, he looked down on us omegas. When I got promoted a while back, he went around spreading rumors that I'd slept my way to the top. I frowned and said coldly, people with black hearts see everything as black. David sneered. Am I wrong? Someone like you has probably been passed around already. The sound of my slap rang out. I pointed at him and said viciously, you keep running your mouth and I won't be so nice. Clutching his face, he suddenly lunged forward and grabbed my throat. I struggled hard and bit down on his hand. Enraged, he kicked at me. I instinctively protected my belly. As I fell backward, I landed in a warm embrace. Noah caught me steadily. The familiar mint scent washed over me, and the nausea faded considerably. Noah asked coldly, David, what do you think you're doing? David blurted out, Mr. Noah, Liam is trying to seduce you. You're lying. I immediately shot back. Noah kicked David. If I ever see you bullying a coworker again, you're fired. David's face went pale as he nodded frantically. All the way back to the private room entrance, Noah's hand stayed wrapped around my waist. I shifted a couple steps to the side, breaking free from his embrace. Are you okay? Noah asked. I'm fine, thank you, Mr. Noah. That kick had landed on my thigh any higher and the consequences would have been disastrous. After the party ended, I tried to get a ride on the street. After 10 minutes of waiting, it still showed I was in queue. A black Maybach pulled up in front of me, The window rolled down, revealing Noah's face. "I'll give you a ride home." "That's not necessary, Mr. Noah. My car should be here soon." I declined. Noah wasn't having it. "There are plenty of coworkers passing by right now. What do you think they'd think if they saw us?" I didn't want to start any rumors with him, so I reluctantly got in the car. The heat was on full blast inside, and Noah's unique pheromone scent filled the space. Was it the pregnancy hormones? His pheromones made me feel incredibly comfortable. The whole ride I was drowsy. When I opened my eyes again, I realized I'd fallen asleep leaning on Noah's shoulder. I quickly straightened up and apologized quietly. "Sorry." Noah looked at me intently. "No need to be so formal." Before I got out, Noah called out to me. "Liam, if you really want to seduce me, I wouldn't mind." "I mind." "That night." Before Noah could finish, I cut in. "Thank you for the ride home, Mr. Noah. Good night." Nobody falls for their coworker, let alone their boss. I practically fled into the building. Apart from occasional morning sickness, things stayed relatively calm. Every day I talked to the baby in my belly, feeling the presence of this little life. The only thing was, I now had to go into Noah's office every day. Sometimes to get his signature, sometimes because he wanted to discuss proposals with me. The more I worked with him, the more I realized he really was a capable leader. It's just that the faint pheromones weren't enough for me anymore. It was getting harder and harder. If only I could secretly take one of his shirts. I was lost in thought at my desk when Noah emailed me to join him on a business trip. This was for a project I'd been managing all along, so I couldn't really refuse. When we arrived at our destination, the person in charge took one look at me being an Omega and immediately frowned in disappointment. "Oh, an Omega?" During our discussion, he subconsciously ignored me, especially after I got nauseous and went to the bathroom, and Noah showed some concern when I came back. The guy started looking at me like I was Noah's lover. Halfway through the conversation, Noah suddenly interrupted. "Did I not introduce him clearly?" He pointed at me. "This is Manager Liam from our project department. He's been handling all the preliminary work for this partnership. If you don't want to talk to him, then there's no point in us continuing this conversation." Noah stood up to leave, and I quickly got up too. The other party rushed to apologize and ask us to stay, but Noah completely ignored them. In the car, I asked tentatively, "Mr. Noah, wasn't that a bit much?" He glanced at me and said slowly, "Nothing wrong with it at all. As far as I'm concerned, there's no difference between alphas, betas, and omegas. I've seen your resume and the projects you've managed. You're excellent and outstanding. Business partners who judge people by their gender aren't worth working with. Just a bunch of stubborn old fogies." Noah's words made my heart race. That last insult was almost kind of cute. It was the first time anyone had ever said something like that to me. Felt warm inside. "Thank you, Mr. Noah." He handed me a bottle of water. "Are you okay? I've noticed you throwing up a lot lately. Are you not feeling well?" I looked away uncomfortably. "I'm fine. Probably just ate something bad." Truth was, being in an enclosed space with him, I already felt so much better. Chapter 3. Just as I was about to drift off to sleep, Noah's breathing suddenly became rapid. I hurriedly asked, "Mr. Noah, are you okay?" "My sensitivity period came early," he said. I was momentarily speechless. There were no inhibitors on the car. Noah was clearly uncomfortable, and I felt it too. Technically, a pregnant Omega shouldn't be affected, but my body was unusually sensitive to his pheromones, and I was already starting to react. The car was filled with a mix of mint and orange scents. Thankfully, the driver was a beta and couldn't sense any of it. Noah's gaze turned dangerous, fixed straight on me. I instinctively protected my glands. He forced a small smile and, trying to mask his discomfort, said, "I'm not going to do anything to you. It's just, your pheromones are unique. Could you release a little more?" Before I knew it, I was releasing my pheromones. Noah closed his eyes, seemingly easing the pain. The driver returned with inhibitors, and after Noah injected himself, he felt much better. But he still looked utterly drained. On the way back to his room, his face was flushed, and he refused help from anyone else, only letting me support him. When we reached his door, I was about to leave. He suddenly pulled me inside and, without warning, took off my coat and hugged me tightly. I froze. Was this an Omega's nesting behavior? I didn't pull away immediately. Instead, I reached out to touch his forehead. It was burning. He had a fever. I stayed with Noah through the entire sensitivity period. Honestly, I had my own selfish reasons too. Being close to him kept my nausea at bay. During this time, he was drowsy and often mumbled nonsense. Liam, do you have a boyfriend? I shook my head. A satisfied smile spread across his face, and he started talking to himself. Don't get me wrong. I'm not harassing anyone works over for the day. I just care. I waited for him to continue, but unexpectedly, he fell asleep. While he slept soundly, I quietly took one of his pajamas. He had brought several sets with him, so missing one probably wouldn't be noticed. Sure enough, Noah never realized a set was missing. Once the sensitivity period ended, he returned to his usual self. He even found new local partners for business, and negotiations went smoothly. Back at the company, Amelia leaned over with a teasing grin. You and Mr. Noah have been on this business trip for so long. Lonely Omega and Alpha together. Did anything happen? I kept a straight face. What are you thinking? We were there to work. Amelia laughed. I think you and Mr. Noah actually make a good pair. You look so coordinated together. That day when he put David in his place, wow, it was amazing. That guy got demoted. It was so satisfying. As we were talking, both our phones suddenly buzzed nonstop. Messages flooded the company chat. Someone had shared a post, and everyone was reacting with crying emojis. After reading it, Amelia sighed. The ship I was shipping has sunk. I opened it and saw a celebrity interview. He said Noah was his fiancée. I instinctively glanced toward Noah's office. The blinds were open and our eyes met. I quickly looked away. So he was already engaged. I couldn't put my finger on the exact feeling in my chest. I touched my belly. Looks like this secret would have to be kept even more tightly. It was time for my regular prenatal checkup. My childhood friend James went with me. He was the only one who knew I was pregnant. The doctor said the baby was developing well. James and I left the office, and he excitedly chatted about the baby's gender. Unfortunately, we ran into Noah. A sweet Omega stood next to him. Though she wasn't the celebrity from the interview, I quickly hid my ultrasound report behind me. Noah seemed surprised to see me too. Liam, are you feeling unwell? He asked, concerned. I made up an excuse casually. No, just a routine checkup. He seemed relieved and explained, I'm here to visit an elder. Then he glanced at the Omega beside him. This is my cousin. The cousin looked at Noah with a questioning expression. Just as we were about to leave, the doctor hurried out, handing me a bag of medicine. Oh, you forgot your prescription. And remember, don't overwork yourself during pregnancy. The doctor hurried back into the office. Noah's face turned pale as he stared at me. His eyes darted between me and James. Pregnant? Liam, you're pregnant? You're married. To avoid complications later, I admitted it on the spot. Yes. He looked incredulous. But that day I asked you, and you said you didn't have a boyfriend. I replied vaguely, no boyfriend, but I do have a husband. Mr. Noah, we should go now. I grabbed James and left quickly. James pulled me aside. He's the father of the baby, right? I quickly denied it. Don't be ridiculous. He has a fiancée. We're not even in the same world. I added. Chapter 4. Noah didn't show up to the Monday meeting. His assistant said he'd called in sick. I found it hard to concentrate. Was Noah really sick? Noah didn't come back to work until Thursday. His face was dark, his whole body radiating negative energy. Amelia whispered, Who pissed off Mr. Noah? I don't even dare breathe too loud. A coworker chimed in, Maybe he had a fight with his Omega? I instinctively glanced toward Noah's office, but the blinds were drawn. I couldn't see anything. When I went to his office to report on work, I felt like he was staring at my belly, lost in thought. I looked at him, confused. After work, Noah cornered me in the underground parking garage. His brow was furrowed, like he wanted to say something but couldn't get the words out. Liam, are you really married? Yes, Mr. Noah, he said with difficulty. Then that night with me. I quickly cut him off. That was an accident. I had too much to drink. Don't worry, the baby isn't yours. Why did Noah's expression look even worse now? Noah asked again, "Are you happy with your husband?" I answered, "We've known each other since we were kids. We're very close. So please keep what happened that night between us." The lies were getting more and more ridiculous. I was so embarrassed I could have dug a hole with my toes. One lie really does require countless others to cover it up. But your beta husband isn't faithful. He's been going on dates with another beta lately. Even though you're having a child, I don't want you to be kept in the dark. I was stunned. James had mentioned before that his family had set him up with a beta. What were the odds that Noah would run into them? I just wanted to end this conversation as quickly as possible. Okay. Thank you for letting me know, Mr. Noah. I understand. I turned to get in my car, but Noah stopped me again. Liam, omegas and betas aren't compatible to begin with. I hope you won't sacrifice your happiness for the sake of a child. You're so wonderful. You deserve better. I fell silent. Let him think whatever he wants. As long as he doesn't know the baby is his. The client we'd recently closed invited us to tour their factory. I was packing for the business trip when I received a message from Noah. Have someone else from your department go on the trip. You're pregnant, stay home and rest. This boss was surprisingly thoughtful. I lay in bed, holding the pajama top I'd stolen. The fabric had peeled from all my handling, and Noah's scent on it was fading more and more each day. My mental state was deteriorating. I felt listless, unable to muster any energy. The day I went to the hospital for my routine checkup, I suddenly felt dizzy and collapsed at the hospital entrance. In my haze, I felt someone pick me up, and a fresh mint scent and alpha's pheromones flooded into my body. Like someone dying of thirst, I instinctively pressed toward the alpha's gland, breathing it in greedily. The person carrying me suddenly stopped walking. Don't move. I nuzzled his gland again and heard Noah take a sharp breath. When I woke up again, I was lying in a hospital room. A doctor was scolding an alpha. When an omega is pregnant, they develop a strong sense of dependency and need an alpha's companionship and pheromone comfort. What kind of alpha are you? I was about to explain when I saw Noah respectfully say to the doctor, "Doctor, I understand. I'll be more careful from now on. Thank you." After the doctor left, we were alone in the room. Thank you, Mr. Noah. Sorry to trouble you again. He pulled over a chair and sat down, looking pale. We're not at the office now. You can just call me by my name. I didn't know what to say and could only nod half-heartedly. Suddenly, his phone buzzed several times in succession. His expression instantly turned dark and terrible. He jerked his head up and shoved his phone at me, his voice full of pain. Liam, while you were at the hospital for your checkup, your beta was holding hands with someone else at a musical. How can you not divorce a scumbag like that? Thank God I was here visiting a relative and happened to run into you. James had originally promised to come with me to the checkup, but his love interest asked him out. I didn't want to get in the way of his happiness, so I came alone. But now, I was silent for a moment, then suddenly asked, "Did you have him followed?" Noah's confidence immediately deflated. After a few seconds, he said, "I'm your boss after all. I don't want to see you get deceived." I was trying to figure out how to respond when both our phones rang simultaneously. Noah walked over to the window to take his call while I answered James's. He sounded upset. "Liam, a bunch of big alphas just came out of nowhere trying to beat me up, and they told Ava I'm married and a scumbag. To avoid getting beaten up and to keep Ava from getting the wrong idea, I had to say I wasn't married. Bro, I'm sorry. Those guys were sent by the baby daddy, weren't they?" After calming James down and hanging up, I felt utterly drained. Noah had also finished his call. He walked over in a few quick steps, his eyes bright as he stared at me. "Liam, the baby you're carrying is mine, isn't it?" Noah's expression changed from cloudy to clear. He looked at me with certainty. "If the baby wasn't mine, you wouldn't have lied to me at the hospital that day," he said somewhat sheepishly. I've been thinking back on that night these past few days, and I realized we were both each other's first time. Chapter 5. My ears started burning. There was no point hiding it anymore. I threw caution to the wind and admitted, "Mr. Noah, the baby is yours. I'm planning to keep it. But don't worry, this has nothing to do with you." I can put it in writing that I won't let the child interfere with your life. Noah's expression darkened. What are you talking about? Don't overthink this. I'm not going to force you to terminate the pregnancy, and I'm not going to fight you for custody. My voice grew quieter. Mr. Noah, you have a fiancé. I know this is asking too much, but the doctor said my reproductive system is underdeveloped. Getting pregnant at all is a miracle. I really want to keep this baby. I just want a family of my own. I looked at him anxiously. He looked completely puzzled. Since when do I have a fiancé? Who told you that? Now it was my turn to be surprised. Noah explained, my family did arrange a marriage for me, but I wasn't interested, so I ran away on the same day we first met, actually. I'm single. I breathed a sigh of relief. That's great. Then the baby won't affect your future. He sighed and gave me a meaningful look, finally saying only, never mind. We'll take it one step at a time. After the 4 finished, Noah insisted on taking me home and coming upstairs with me. You're too weak right now. The doctor said if this continues, it'll be bad for the baby. I'll come up with you and leave some of my pheromones at your place. He had a point, so I let him come up. Opening the door, I said sheepishly, my place is kind of small. Noah looked around with interest. It's cozy. Everything smells like oranges. I really like it. His gaze landed on the pajama top draped over the sofa. I tried to hide it, but it was too late. He smirked with a half-smile. So that's where my missing pajamas ended up. As soon as he finished speaking, Noah began releasing his pheromones. My legs went weak and I collapsed onto the sofa. He stayed until late before leaving, and he left his jacket and tie behind. This alpha was pretty thoughtful. Though things hadn't gone exactly as I'd expected, Noah's reaction was relatively calm. I just have to take things as they came, at least for now. Everything seemed positive. Still, for some reason, I felt a vague sense of disappointment. Monday morning, I arrived at my desk to find a paper bag on my chair. Inside were pajamas, a tie, and an undershirt, all designer brands. I knew without asking that Noah had left them, and they still carried traces of his pheromones. I quickly stashed them away like I was hiding stolen goods, thinking to myself, did he really need to give me something as personal as an undershirt? Amelia bought me a coffee and chatted. Mr. Noah must have made up with his Omega. I asked curiously, why do you say that? He's been in such a good mood lately, practically gliding when he walks. Nothing like how down he was before. At last week's meeting, his tone was much gentler too. He barely criticized anyone. Thinking about it, she had a point. But he'd said he didn't have a fiancé and was single. I had no idea what he had to be so happy about. I'd been getting deliveries constantly at home, pregnancy support belts, bird's nest soup and sea cucumber, various probiotics, all sent by Noah. I started to worry, hadn't he said he wouldn't try to take the baby? It wasn't until I got his message that I relaxed. Don't overthink it. These are all things you need right now. Let's have dinner together after work every day. The doctor said Omegas need to spend time with the alpha daily for the baby to develop properly. I'll go with you to your next prenatal appointment. Reading these messages, I felt warmth spreading through my chest, like something inside was melting. From then on, Noah took me to dinner every day after work. The food was delicious and nutritious, though the restaurants all looked expensive. I felt bad always letting him pay and tried to grab the check, but he stopped me. No need to pay, I own this restaurant. I was momentarily speechless. Chapter 6. As my pregnancy progressed, my body started going through new changes. Every morning, I'd wake up with my pajama top soaked and uncomfortable. I looked online for solutions and stumbled across one suggestion. Have your alpha take care of it. My face immediately burned red, and I quickly closed the browser. But I couldn't stop Noah's image from popping into my head. At work the next day, while I was still stressing about this, the office suddenly erupted with chatter. A stunning Omega walked in carrying roses, heading straight for Noah's office. Isn't that the famous celebrity? Even more gorgeous in person. No wonder Mr. Noah's been in such a good mood lately. Looks like there's going to be an announcement soon. But hadn't Noah said he didn't have a fiancé and was single? I couldn't help staring at his office. The blinds, which were usually open, were closed today. That Omega went in and didn't come out for the longest time. An inexplicable ache settled in my chest, which then started feeling tight and uncomfortable. The doctor had said pregnant Omegas experience intense mood swings. I guess it was true. Staring at my computer screen, tears suddenly started streaming down my face without warning. That afternoon, I took sick leave and went home. I was dozing on the couch when urgent knocking came from the door. When I opened it, there stood Noah. He looked me up and down anxiously. Amelia said you took the afternoon off. Are you feeling okay? I'm fine. What are you doing here, Mr. Noah? Actually, I felt terrible. The pajamas I just changed into were already soaked through again. I came to check on you, of course. He paused, then added, about that Omega who came to see me today. I glanced down at my belly. Don't worry, I'll keep it confidential. Noah's expression immediately soured. He looked at me helplessly. Liam, besides keeping my secrets, don't you have any other thoughts? I did, but I could only keep them buried inside. I'd spent the whole afternoon realizing something. I think I'd fallen for Noah. Seeing that Omega had made me so jealous it hurt, which was why I'd cried. I shook my head. No. Noah sighed and pushed his way inside. Guess I haven't been obvious enough. Liam, I like you. You said you wanted a family. Will you let me be part of yours? Took forever for my heartbeat to return to normal. Noah said he liked me. He'd been eating with me every day, bringing me things. Being so good to me, was it because he liked me? Noah spoke earnestly. That day at the hospital, when I thought you were married with a kid, I felt like my whole world collapsed. I locked myself in my apartment and drank, my head full of thoughts of you. When I heard your fake beta had cheated on you, honestly, I was relieved. I felt like I had another chance. When I found out the baby was mine, I was so happy I couldn't sleep all night. I wanted to take things slow, let you get to know my feelings gradually. But what you said earlier scared me. I didn't want to wait anymore. I needed you to know how I felt right away. That Omega who came today was someone my family arranged for me to marry, but I've already turned them down. I didn't accept the flowers either. I started crying again, pathetically. I like you too. Noah's hand, reaching to wipe my tears, froze mid-air. He looked at me with such joy. I carefully reached out and hugged him. He pulled me tight against him. After holding me for a while, Noah let go and gently kissed my forehead. He glanced at my chest. Is it really hot in here? Your shirt's all wet. Why does it smell like milk? Noah suddenly went quiet, realization dawning as he stared at me. I wanted to crawl into a hole and die. Noah sat down on the couch and pulled me onto his lap. He kissed my lips again and again. Even though it wasn't our first kiss, I felt both nervous and awkward. Liam, I'm your alpha now, right? I looked into his eyes and softly answered, yes. Noah asked again, are you uncomfortable right now? I nodded slightly. Then let me help you, okay? Later, I closed my eyes, keeping my hand on Noah's head the whole time. I don't want to think about the next day. Just remembering Noah saying delicious makes my whole body tingle. Noah and I started dating. The baby in my belly would finally have a complete family. It all felt too good to be true, like a dream. My belly was getting more obvious, and Amelia was the first to notice I was pregnant. Her eyes went wide as she covered her mouth. Holy crap, Liam, whose baby is this? Which alpha knocked you up? I answered quietly, I can't tell you yet. Took her the whole morning to accept this reality. Chapter 7. That afternoon, Noah used work as an excuse to get me to come to his office. The moment I walked in, he lifted me onto his desk, leaned close to my ear, and whispered, are you wet again? When I left Noah's office, I could barely stand. I'd just gotten back to my desk when I saw David post a photo in the company group chat. It was from my hospital checkup. I'd been wearing fitted clothes that day, so my baby bump was pretty obvious. Co-workers around me started whispering. I felt my blood run cold. Ever since he got demoted, he'd mostly left me alone. Amelia fired back in the chat. David, what's your problem? Delete that now. David stood up from his seat, looking at me with malicious intent. I knew it. You're an Omega who sleeps around, and now you don't even know who the father is. I stood up to defend myself. My baby is not unwanted. Then how does a single Omega end up pregnant? I was about to respond when I saw Noah appear behind David. His voice was firm. The baby's mine. I'm Liam's alpha. The baby he's carrying is mine. What are you saying my child is unwanted? The office fell silent. David's face went pale. Mr. Noah, I'm sorry, I didn't know. Noah said coldly, You're fired. The office quickly returned to normal. I got bombarded with messages from Amelia. Am I dreaming? Not only is my ship still sailing, but you guys are having a baby. Liam, you're amazing. I can't believe you kept this a secret. You deserve an alpha like Mr. Noah. As my due date approached, Noah bought a new villa. He set up a luxurious, beautiful nursery for our baby. I moved into the villa with him. I joked, I guess I'm getting ahead in life thanks to the baby. Noah quickly corrected me. No, the baby's getting ahead thanks to you. I challenged him. So you don't love our baby? He fumbled over his words. I do. I just wanted you to know I'm not with you because of the baby. And that's not why I want to marry you. I'm with you because I love you. I hugged him. I love you too. After taking maternity leave from work, I stayed home to prepare for the baby. One day, 2 older gentlemen showed up at the villa. They looked like Noah's grandfather and father. They pointed at Noah, looking devastated. You ungrateful son. Why did you refuse the arranged marriage? Noah replied, I already have an Omega. I'm going to marry him. I came down from the 2nd floor, and Noah immediately rushed over to support me. His father looked me over and exploded. Noah, have you lost your mind? You're marrying an Omega who's already pregnant? Are you trying to kill us with stress? Noah looked at them, confused. The baby is mine. His grandfather immediately shot up, gripping his cane excitedly. What? I'm going to be a great-grandfather. Our family has an heir. Noah's father quickly pulled out his phone and called someone, shouting excitedly into the phone. You're going to be a grandmother. Noah's grandfather walked over to me kindly. Grandson-in-law, hello? We didn't scare you just now, did we? Don't take it to heart, we were mainly yelling at this brat. He glanced at Noah. The scene descended into chaos. Noah looked at me. We exchanged helpless smiles. Over the next few days, I kept receiving gifts from Noah's family: planes, yachts, various properties, and cars. I was both nervous and thrilled. I really was getting ahead thanks to the baby. 2 months later, our baby was born. An alpha. Absolutely adorable. At the wedding, the officiant asked Noah when he first fell for me. Noah thought for a moment, then looked at me tenderly. I guess it was love at first sight. The first time I saw him, I couldn't help being drawn to him. Every time since has been the same. It is now, and it always will be. Tears were already streaming down my face. Someone really had chosen me without hesitation and loved me without reservation. I had a family that was truly mine. If you enjoyed this story, remember to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much.